name's Greg Smith, and I'm president of Gilbert Smith Forest Products. My grandfather started the business with his sons, my father and uncles, in 1955. They started cedar transmission poles, telephone poles, was kind of the part of the business. And wasn't until the late 60s that then they started to move into manufacturing and started to build the sawmill. 1968 was when the first lumber was cut, and we always kind of focused on a specialty product suite as far as what we were doing and growing and learning as we went along. We're always with Western red cedar. It's a fantastic species, and it's one of the species that has a lot of products that you can manufacture and produce in the green form. Throughout the 70s and 80s, it was just a continuous investment in the business and our processes, and kept growing. As we continued to grow, and in the early 2000s, we put a small log line in, and the smaller tight knot products were starting to become a bigger component of our product outturn and diet. And we do things a little differently here, in that when we run, we run our product through into what's called a grade sort line that we have. And so in one pass, we're able to do multiple grade sorts. We're able to pull to length and sort out all our products. And so that large capital investment that we did back in 2016, 2017 really was kind of the building block on how we wanted to structure our business going forward, as far as producing high quality reman blanks as well as finished products. We have twin sorters with 110 bin sorting capacity, and that enables us to be able to really specifically build specialty tallies and specialty programs for people. We kind of thought about drying wood, but it never really came about as something that we wanted to move into. We talked about it, but we still had some really good markets in regards to being able to produce products in the green form, either finished or in a rough reman blank is kind of what we really focused on. It wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago we started to talk about, maybe we should start looking at drying. And it came about with Western red cedar still had a good component of green programs, but just surrounding things such as just fiber supply, fiber security, that maybe we were going to need to start branching out into other species. And the bulk of those other species are all needing to be produced in the dry form. And so it was one of those ones that at some point, if we are going to need to grow into a multi-species operation, then we should be prepared for that with a kiln. So once it came to the decision that what is our next step, are we ready for drying? We were doing some programs where we were starting to dry off-site, and after going through the logistics of that and some of the struggles, it was really crystal clear that we wanted to have on-site drying. What we started to look at was be able to do some conversion to our stacker. Again, everything that we do, we try and be creative, try and find ways to solve problems and make things efficient. And our sorting line was a real good starting point for that. And so we converted our stacker so that we could stack out finished goods with lath, or we could put in our stickers for drying. And it's a touch of a button. We can pick exactly what width, what length, what product we want, and we keep products that we want to dry for the dry, or if we want stuff that needs to go into the green. A lot of the lower grade products are best suited for kind of outdoor structures or different things in the landscaping market, and they don't need to be a dry product, and so it works well having that flexibility. If you go to ecodrylumber.com, you'll be driven to our website and check out what a Nyle DH kiln is all about, and how that energy management system will be able to deliver those results.